Love that yawn.
Okay. Hey, what's up, everybody? You are listening to the Couch
Wait,
Lords.
wait, 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 wait. I'm sorry. I want to put this on the recorder, though.
Playing.
Okay.
Are you
That
ready?
was the dry run.
I'm totally ready now. Totally ready.
Okay, now I have to think about what I'm going to say.
Sorry.
Okay. You ready?
Ready.
Okay. Hey, what's up, everybody? You're listening to the Couch Lords, where we give you our unsolicited and very intelligent opinions about TV shows and movies. I'm Alex Monroe.
And I'm Alex Menas.
And I'm Marcus Drew Steele.
Cool. So we have a long list of shows we're going to go through today, starting
If
with...
it sounds funny, it's because we're on Google Hangouts again.
Yeah. But
We
good
won't
news.
be in like 2 weeks, though.
Yes, I'll be back in town.
So we're going to start off with Alex Manas's favorite, I'm going to say, The Walking Dead. What's going on?
What's going on with The Walking Dead? I don't freaking know. Well, I'm still reeling from Glenn's quote unquote death.
He ain't dead.
I mean, I don't know. It's so now we're for this episode we got into a character's backstory. I always forget his name though. Hold on, I'm looking it up right now. It's Morgan. Let's see. Morgan tells the Wolf's leader about his meeting with Eastman. Sorry, guys. Give me a second here. Yeah. Okay. So Morgan. So Morgan has been the side character for a long time. We actually saw him in the very. I think it was in the very first episode when Rick first woke up in the hospital and he realized like everything's gone to hell, and got himself together. And when he was out and about on his own. He came across this guy, Morgan, and his son, who was about maybe 11 or 12 years old, and his son was actually the one who clocked him over the head, thinking that Rick was a zombie, but he wasn't. So anyway, Morgan kind of took him in, and it was a very dramatic episode because they were kind of stuck in this house. It was Morgan's house, and they didn't really want to leave or move on because Morgan's wife had been bitten and turned into a walker, and she had been kind of like, stalking the house. And so, anyway, that's just a little bit of backstory. So now, some time has passed. We have seen Morgan a few times throughout the whole series. So now we get a little bit more backstory of how Morgan became a fighter and an agent for peace, and he kind of had this mantra that all life is sacred, so he doesn't even kill the people who are non-walkers but are murderous. So basically what happened in this episode is that we saw him taken in by this guy who had this cabin, and he actually had him locked up in this cell in his cabin. And he kind of rehabilitated him. Like Morgan was kind of going crazy. He was losing his mind, and he wanted to die, and he was killing anybody who crossed his path, even people that weren't murderous. It was just whoever that was there. Like he was just on this murderous rampage. And so, but this guy overall rehabilitated him, and he kind of taught him how to find peace and how to fight without using a gun or killing, because he has like this style of fighting that he uses with kind of like Donatello from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, so that's the backstory there for him. And this season started off really like the first few episodes has been very like suspenseful and action packed, and I mean, every episode is just very anxiety-inducing, and so this was just kind of like a little bit of a breather from that. It was still a really good episode. It was really well done, but I don't know. Like, it's hard to focus on this kind of episode when something so big happened in the previous one.
That's kind of how I know we're going to talk about this later, but that's kind of what Marvel did. The Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. They did the same thing. They did like an origin story or focused on one singular character for an entire episode.
Yeah.
In the midst of something huge happening, and it's like, What's going? No, get back to what
Was that, what are you talking about when we saw Gemma in that alternate?
Yeah, they spent the whole episode on that. That was cool.
Yeah.
But apparently, next week we're supposed to get back to whether or not finding out if Glenn is alive or dead.
For The Walking Dead?
Yeah.
Okay, I hope so.
He's like, I don't know.
I don't know what's going on because like I said, like he's been a major character since the first season. So that was that's a pretty big death. But this show has killed off major characters before.
But maybe not in that way. Like you would think there would be something a little bit more, I guess, dramatic than just getting eaten by the walkers. Like,
yeah, I don't know. Maybe he deserves something better than that.
Yeah.
He's been such a survivor.
Is Daryl still alive?
Daryl's still there. Daryl, Carol, Rick, and then we got a couple newbies that we saw over time that stuck around for a while. But Daryl, Carol, Rick, and Glenn, I think, are the only originals.
Did you know Daryl was in Love Actually?
Yeah.
Daryl?
Yeah, he was the one. He was like the story with Keira Knightley, and it was like the best friend that was in love with her.
No, that was Rick.
Oh, I don't know who Daryl is.
Yeah. That was the main character. Yeah, no, Daryl is from. He was in that movie. Oh God, I'm so brain farting right now. I'm gonna find it out right now. Norman Reedus, and he was most famous for the Boondock Saints.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And with that other guy who was on Dexter, Sean Patrick Flannery.
Who was he in Dexter?
He was in the last season of Dexter. I think he was like some sort of like a PI or bounty hunter type person.
I never got that far in Dexter.
Yeah,
So-
he's in the last season.
So what are you giving The Walking Dead? What grade?
I give it an A.
Okay.
A plus even, because it is actually a really good backstory what we find out. And the guy who plays the dude that rehabilitated him, he's been in a lot of stuff. I can't think of his name right now, but he was actually in American Horror Story. He played in this season that episode where they had the dinner with all the murderers.
Yeah.
He was the clown, the killer clown.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, he's the guy who played Twisty.
Is that the same guy?
Mm-hmm. They did an ode to Twisty by putting the makeup on his face.
Yeah, but that was a real killer.
Yeah.
The one that they featured in that episode. Because I looked that guy up and I was like, holy shit, this is scary.
Yeah.
There was a real serial killer clown. That's pretty terrifying.
All right, let's move along.
All right.
Agents
So
of S.H.I.E.L.D.
next up, we got, what is it?
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Okay. So Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Marcus, you want to take this one?
Yeah, I mean, there's a few things going on with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., kind of like what I was mentioning earlier. At the end of last season, Gemma got taken away into the alternate universe, and then in the few episodes now, Gemma's back, and she's kind of having a little bit of PTSD and wants to go back and rescue her alternate world lover, right, astrological lover named Will. Who fits being the good guy that he is. He's helping her out, helping her do it. Hunter went after Ward, and May helped him. And then Hunter tried to kill Ward, but then he missed. And then in lieu of that, Ward tried to have Andrew killed, which is May's ex-husband, who's also being like the therapist to all of the Inhumans and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But before we get into the spoilers, this episode, I was very happy to see that Bobby, a.k.a. Mockingjay, is back in the, or Mockingbird, excuse me, not Mockingjay, Hunger Games. Mockingbird, she's back in the field. May recruited her to go after Ward because Coulson took Hunter off of the case, and Hunter tried to help out with Fitz, and that didn't work out, and so they ended up helping out Mac and Daisy. And I love them together. I'll get to that in a second. But I also like May and Bobby together. I think they make a badass team.
And I like how May got her back into the game, too, by actually picking a fight with her. Yeah. And like, God, May's being kind of a bitch, but really she was testing her to see if she was okay to go back in the field to help her out.
And she was. They was out there ass whooping and everything.
Yeah.
That was good. And then I love Daisy, Mac, and Hunter together because I love Mac and Daisy's relationship now. I love how it's evolved, and they're kind of like the duo, and then Hunter's like the wild child. I love the scene where they were staking out Lance to find out whether or not he was Flash, and
I like what they're doing. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you again, but I like what they're doing with the characters, how they're kind of mixing them up, working together. Because before, like they've each had like their own person or whatever that they've worked with, but now they're kind of mixing it up, and like their styles are they're a little twisted, or not twisted, but they're
you just start to really
having a hard time meshing in that sense, working together.
I like it though. I think it's awesome because you start to notice each agent's individual style and stuff, and you find out that Hunter's a hothead, and that Daisy has trust issues, and that Mac is weirdly enough the calm one, and May's the fighter, and Bobby's the badass secret agent, and all of this stuff. So it's really cool.
Bobby's more like she tries to avoid the violence part, whereas May is like punch now, ask questions.
Right. So come to find out at the end of the episode, since the season began, we've been trying to figure out who is Lash, this huge inhuman guy, and we've all had our guesses and stuff, but turns out it's Blair Underwood's character.
Yeah.
That's what you guys are texting about.
Yeah.
Who the hell is Blair Underwood?
And so he plays Andrew Gardner, May's ex-husband, and it's so funny because like at the end of the episode,
Sex and the City, by the way.
Say what?
He was in Sex and the City, by the way, Monroe.
Yeah.
Who is he?
He was Miranda's love interest.
Steve?
No, Blair Underwood, the black guy. He was Miranda's love.
Neighbor.
Yeah.
Blair Underwood's a dude?
Yes.
I liked him in Sex and the City. You got my attention. Okay.
But no, at the end of the episode, just to kind of wrap it up really quickly, and then I get your thoughts, Manas. What was I lost my train. No. Yeah. At the end of the episode, it's Daisy and Andrew Gardner's character in the hallway, and she's just got off the phone with Lincoln, but Lincoln won't tell her where he is, and Blair Andrew kind of over eavesdrops and listens, and he's like, "Oh, is that Lincoln? Did he tell you where he was by any chance?" And then Daisy's like, "No, but I wish he would." And then he was like, "Oh, if you find out, let me know. We should bring him in." And Daisy's like, "Yes." But everybody else, like if you're watching, you're like, "No, don't tell him because he wants to kill him." You know? And all
that's tragic irony. We all know what's going on, but
Daisy. And so now I want to know if May's going to make it back in time, or if she's going to say anything at all and be like, "Hey, yo, what's going on here?"
Yeah, because that's that's somebody she loves. So
right.
Yeah.
I give it an A. That's for the show.
I give it an A also. It was a good episode. Like I said before, I like how they're mixing up how the agents are working together, and you see more of their flaws or weaknesses when they with different people that they're not used to working with.
Right.
And it'll be interesting to see how that's going to pan out when I think the big fight's going to come down to Ward and the agents. So
I don't know. I was reading an article, and I think it's going to be a contention between the ATCU and SHIELD, and then Ward, and then Daisy and Coulson.
Oh, wow.
Daisy's starting to get a little bit more distrustful of Coulson because she saw him and the director in that warehouse.
Yeah, that's right.
So I think Daisy's starting to get a little bit like, what the hell is really going on?
Drama.
Good episode. I like it. Tuesdays, ABC, Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Okay, so what's next on the list?
Quantico.
Oh,
all right.
Monroe, because I got some stuff to say.
Okay, I might need a little help recapping because it was a Sunday night show, so I watched it forever ago. So Alex finds out that Ryan, is that his name, Ryan?
Yeah, I think so.
Where Ryan was like assigned to like investigate and keep an eye on.
Whoa. Was that Django?
Yeah, I'm going to start over.
I'm keeping that in.
He wants to be a part of the show.
That was Monroe's cat, Django. He's causing havoc back there.
being an idiot right now. Alex finds out that Ryan's tailing or investigating her. Simon, we found out a while ago, but we haven't talked about it, that he's not gay. It was just a front. He doesn't like coffee. It is like he's not who he says he is at all. Mm-hmm. And he likes what's her name?
Nima, I think. The twins.
Yeah. And he is like, I'm going to go on a walk with you, so I'm going to come over to your dorm, and he walks in on both of them. Mm-hmm. And so they hit him over the head, and he is left unconscious.
Oh, sorry.
He actually fell. Like, he was trying to leave the room, and, like, they pushed him, and he fell, and he hit his head.
That's true.
And then she locked him in a closet.
And then we find out Miranda, the leader of the training thing, her son got released from prison, and he tried to shoot up a school before, and she's worried about him. And we also learned she was having an affair with the other leader.
The assistant director, yeah.
Director. But did I miss anything?
And then at the end of the episode, Alex, she was mad at Ryan and cut him off, but she went to the assistant director's office and was like, no, I'm not mad at you because you didn't lie to me. You're just doing your job. And I knew she was doing this when she went in there because the whole episode was about surveillance.
Okay, I have to say something. So shout out to Alex for not only referring to the city of Oakland, where I live,
that's where she's from.
But she also was mentioning. I know that's where she's from. They introduced that in the first episode.
Yeah.
She also mentioned about how he's been stalking her about her runs at Lake Merritt. I'm like, I go walking there. So, sorry, I had to point that out.
No, yeah. And so she leaves the office of the assistant director, and you think, that's going to be it. But then, you start hearing a voiceover talking about surveillance. It comes to find out she put a camera in the office, and she wants to find out what the assistant director is doing. She's surveilling him. Yeah. And so she's a badass. She's really.
Did you mention Miranda's and her son?
Yeah. Okay. What happens in the flash forward? Because I forgot that there's anything.
Well, they're still helping Alex out, and the
Ryan got that girlfriend of his now, who's the bitch from Academy.
Right.
He says, like, I think he's working with Alex to the director guy, so now he might be ratted out. And I don't know what else is new.
What I was going to say was that what I really like about the episodes as we're kind of coming a little bit more full circle here is that they were all very close to the Academy, and then they all kind of fell out, had a falling out after the Academy. But then with this crisis and Alex being the one targeted, they're kind of all coming back together again slowly. You can kind of see that, with Ryan and Simon and the blonde-headed girl who was like her roommate. Yeah, they're all kind of coming back together to help her out. They don't necessarily all fully trust each other, but they know that their instincts are like, she didn't do this. Like, we know she didn't do this, and they're trying to figure it out. So I really like that aspect, and I think we're going to find out pretty soon. Mm-hmm. Favorite people, though, are the twins. I don't know. I like the twins.
Oh, that's the other thing. It ends, and at least one of the twins was at the place they blew up before it happened. So now I think he did it. Also, Shelby and Caleb were an item, right? In like when they were in training, kind of. Right. And then we find out Shelby is sleeping with Caleb's dad.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Which I don't understand, because Caleb is fine.
Maybe she likes older men.
No, Caleb, not the dad. Oh, yeah, she does. Yeah, gross. Right. Gross. So I consistently, this series has been one of my favorite new fall premieres. So I give this episode an A+.
I give it an A.
I give it an A-. Even
with the Lake Merrick shot?
Don't kill me. Well, and my only reason why is because, okay, so I get what they were going with the whole affair thing, but there were parts of this episode felt kind of filler for me until the very end of it. So that's why I'm giving it a little bit of a minus.
I don't think so. I mean, I feel like everything that happened, and I'm recapping the episode in my head really quickly. I feel like everything that happened for or had a purpose. Maybe the whole Simon and the twins thing maybe was a little filler-ish, just that whole relationship.
Yeah.
burdening. I don't know. I can't remember everything off of the bat, but I mean, it's still an A, so I ain't tripping.
Yeah, it for me, it felt like one of those episodes that it was written just for the sex of it, because there
was a lot of sex in there.
There was a lot of sex in it, and I feel like, there's some of those shows when they try to they do that, they'll have an episode where it's just everybody's just having sex.
And everybody. Yeah.
That's why. I mean, I'm not saying it was a bad episode. It's still in the A range. There's just things for me that felt like, all right, let's move this along.
Yeah.
Cool.
I get it.
All right, moving along.
Ash versus the Evil Dead.
Yes. So.
What is this? I've never heard of it until you texted me. So it is.
Okay. So Ash versus the Evil Dead is a continuation of the original Evil Dead trilogy. Hold on, I'm gonna pull this up here before I start talking.
Which I still need to watch, by the way. I still have your DVDs.
You better watch them because they're really good.
Next time I see you, we'll bring them.
Marcus, have you seen them?
I don't think so.
Okay,
I've heard.
Sam Raimi, who is mostly now famous for directing the Spider-Man movies, he originally got famous for he became an up-and-coming filmmaker for doing the Evil Dead trilogy. There was Evil Dead 2, and Army of Darkness. And his style was, although it was still horror, it was like an animated, and not in the sense where it was drawn. It was just very vivid horror comedy, and it was a style that was very unique that hasn't been really done at the time. And so it was really successful. He did Evil Dead on a shoestring budget, and it took off. And so Evil Dead 2 is basically a remake of the first one. It's just because he got more money, and so he got a better way of telling the story. Even though in the story itself, it's a sequel to the first one. It's kind of confusing that way, but you get it when you watch it. And then Army of Darkness, it gets more ridiculous because he gets transported to the medieval times, but okay, I'm gonna go back again. The story is about Ash, the main character, who is played by Bruce Campbell, and he and his girlfriend and their friends, they go basically on this trip to this cabin in the middle of the woods, and they find this book. I think it's called the Necromancer. Mm-hmm. And it's bound in human skin, and anybody who reads the words out loud, basically you're raising the dead, the dead from hell, these demons or whatever. And so, and they have the power to possess you and do crazy shit, try to kill you basically and turn you into one of themselves. So, and then Army of Darkness, he gets transported back to the medieval times, and he has to help this community in medieval times, help fight. Basically, it's the Army of Darkness. It's from the Army of the Dead. And so anyway, flash forward 30 years, Sam Raimi decides to make a TV show based off the Evil Dead, which is now on Starz, and the story itself takes place 30 years later when this stuff starts surfacing again because Ash accidentally reads the book again. He's had the book in his possession all this time, and to impress his this girl that he brought over, he and this girl got super high, and he busts out this book, and he starts reading out of the Necromancer, therefore raising the dead again, and so it's about him and these two younger people. I think it's Jill Marie Jones. Oh, there's three people, I'm sorry. Jill Marie Jones, Ray Santiago, and Dana Lorenzo. And Lucy Lawless is in it too, but I'm not sure who she's playing. She's playing kind of an evil character there.
I love her.
But anyway, so great. It was a great start, and I had no idea that Sam Raimi was going to write and direct the first episode. I thought he was just producing the show, but he was very involved in the first episode because it was very true to how the original movies looked and felt like. So I thought it was fantastic for what it was, a horror comedy. It's exactly what you're looking for as an Evil Dead fan. I mean, I give it an A+.
Good.
Yeah.
I still want to watch it.
Yeah, if you want to watch it, it's on. The first episode is streaming for free on on Starz on the website, But I think to continue watching it, you have to have a subscription. Or if you have any other means of getting it, I'm not going to mention those. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, I'm hooked. I'm gonna continue to watch this and fill you guys in on it.
Good.
So yeah, so next on the list, what do we got?
Empire.
Oh, okay.
Rick, did you watch it? Do you want to recap?
Yeah, I watched it. Empire is good. Let's see. We left off last episode with Hakeem getting kidnapped at the end of the episode by like the ruling gang in the new neighborhood that Lion Dynasty is in, and Lion Dynasty obviously is Cookie and Hakeem's trying to start their own label away from Empire. And so this episode, most of it was all basically based on Hakeem, and him, and he, finally got let go, and like Lucius and Cookie paid the little ransom or whatnot, and then Hakeem just kind of dealt with that the entire episode.
He got his own PTSD.
Yeah, a little bit, sort of, but it comes to find out he was, not so much upset about getting punched and stuff like that, but kind of what he explained at the end of the episode, he was more upset that he didn't do anything. He let them do it and he didn't fight back. And, of course, the Lyons brothers, Jamal and what's the other dude's name? Andre, yeah. Came in and talked to him, and they was like, don't worry about it. We wouldn't have done anything either, and, kind of boosted him up a little bit. But the biggest thing of the night, and I don't know if anybody else caught this or not, but when Hakeem was kidnapped, he was able to get his hood off, and he saw the guys changing out of their clothes, and they all had, these longhorn tattoos or something on their back. And then come to find out, the twist at the end of the episode, Cookie's new security guy, who's played by Adam Rodriguez, who was in Magic Mike and in CSI Miami, he's supposed to be helping them get the security, but at the end of the episode, him and Cookie are sleeping together or
they're hooking up, and when he takes off his
shirt, he's got the same tattoo on his back, and so it's like, oh shit, but she's being played. They put him there on purpose to kind of infiltrate, the business or whatnot, and so that was the big twist, and so now we're gonna find out how she finds out about it, or if Hakeem sees them and be like, oh, he's got the same tattoo as the other dudes and stuff like that.
Because the security guy is telling Cookie to hire the people that kidnapped Hakeem to do the security for Lion Dynasty now.
Yeah. So. And then you kind of realize at the end of the episode, oh, okay, I get it now. So now he's trying to get all of them on the inside so that they could kind of make it implode. So it'll be very interesting to see. Other than that, we found out that Gabourey Sidibe is getting some on the side with what's his name, Day Papa or something like that. Shout out to them. Mm-hmm. Jamal and Michael broke up, so that's done.
Michael he had to go and do bad things.
Well, again, like I said at the beginning of the season, I didn't even know Michael was back. And I honestly...
They just brought him back out of nowhere. All of a sudden, they're just back together. I'm like, oh, okay.
He just disappeared again. So that happened.
I don't know. It's kind of weird what they're doing with this character.
And then Hakeem slept with Anika again.
Yeah.
And that was good.
Back to Anika. And then she was desperate at that time, too. She's got nowhere to go. She doesn't have a job anymore, and she doesn't know what she's going to do. And then here comes Hakeem, and he... sleeps with her, and then she comes back to check in on him, and he's just like, it's not a really good time right now. So, I'm just checking up on you. That's it.
I'd be very interested to see how her storyline, what they do with her storyline, because right now, her storyline kind of fizzled out.
Yeah, a little bit, but we'll see. We'll see.
I mean, she's not a big cast member, so I kind of thought they'd get rid of her after a while.
Yeah.
She's in there. Don't know why.
She's in the main cast.
To shake things up. Don't worry.
So.
Or else, it's just so funny.
Well, I feel like what the logical transformation is that you had her and Cookie at odds, but I feel like the logical evolution now was to have them work together against Lucius.
Yeah.
And have them kind of tag team him, and so I feel like that would be the next step, but who knows?
Yeah.
I give Empire a B+.
Yeah, B+. Just cause For some reason, the episode was a little slow to me, but also we learned a lot of new information that moves the plot forward at the same time. It just felt kind of like,
Right. I agree. B plus.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, so what's next?
Jane the Virgin.
You want to take this one, Monroe?
Sure. So Jane is still like going back and forth between Raphael and Michael. She kissed them both, and they both know about the kiss, the other kisses. Michael got a new partner, and he's still looking to find Sinrostro. His partner's kind of annoying.
Kind of annoying, but then, spoiler alert, you find out that she's actually investigating him.
I thought before we learned that, I thought she was Sinrostro, because we don't know what she looks like.
No.
So obvious. And then I'm like, oh, never mind. But what else happened?
So then there's, Jane's friend, Lena.
Yeah.
Lena's 25th birthday, and there's a flashback where Jane had promised to plan Lena's birthday.
It's getting hot in here.
Yeah, right. They had that dance routine.
That dance routine was dope. Go ahead.
It was awesome.
They was throwing that thing.
Dana, I'm sorry. You know what? There were some really funny moments in this episode because, Lena's with Jane, like at her. They had it was like a baby stroller exercise class.
Yeah.
And like the instructor was like, okay, for some of your mothers who are still pee-peeing their pants, you might want to sit this exercise out. And Jane thought, I stopped pee-peeing my pants yesterday. She's like, high five.
But at the end, the trainer was like, oh, how do you do it? How do you look so well? She was like, it's called birth control.
Yeah.
I was like, damn.
So, but come to find out, so Jane actually she forgot to plan Lena's birthday, and she feels guilty because Lena had actually said to her before, like, oh, once you have the baby, you're going to forget about me. And she's like, no, it's not true. I got your birthday on point. Don't worry. She forgot. So, so she's trying to plan like this last minute Great Gatsby birthday party, but nobody can show. Oh, it was like a really thin list.
Yeah.
But I forgot. How did her friend figure out that Jane forgot the birthday?
Well, she told her. They were at the bar. She was like, I'm sorry, I forgot.
Yeah.
And and she was like, no, I guess I'm just not that important anymore. And she kind of walks off.
Yeah. So she got mad. So Jane goes and meets her at a club on her actual birthday, and I don't even think they didn't even plan to meet up. She was still mad. Lena was still mad at her. She just found her at that club, and Lena's dancing with some dude, and then she apologized to her and said that, like, look, I came out here because I felt guilty, but I'm staying because it's your birthday. And then she's like, no, you're just gonna leave her. You're gonna leave early on me, blah 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 blah. And then Jane gets somebody who's carrying a tray of shots. She grabs a shot and she takes it, and she's like, wait, don't you have to breastfeed? And she's like, nuh-uh, I'm pumping and dumping today.
Yeah.
Because she had like this big ass bag with her in the middle of the club, and it's her breast pump.
My only Jane
today, and her face was hilarious when she said that. Yeah. Go ahead.
No, did you know anything else?
The other thing was that Raphael, because they're trying to find Sinrostro, or Michael's trying to find Sinrostro, he calls around. He finds a name of some
Denise.
Yeah, and who ends up being
Denise Archer.
Yeah, but it was like some famous yodeler or something.
Yeah, that was supposedly sleeping with bros.
So they had to get Raphael to book her to perform at the hotel, but basically they were trying to get her to interrogate her or interview her about what's going on because she apparently had an affair with Sinrostro. And then there was this other thing with Raphael's sister who was previously kidnapped by like these Swedish guys, and then she thought that she was kidnapped by Sinrostro, because they were taking good care of her, but then they actually hurt her, and then let her go, and she figures, okay, it wasn't Rose or Sinrostro, so it was somebody else who's trying to get at Sinrostro. and Sinrostro actually sends her an email. There was like some sort of weird invitation to a garden party or something like that, but it was kind of a code for like she's trying to get in contact with her. And so, and it was funny because the narration was like, you know, it was saying that okay, Sinrostro or Rose killed her father, kidnapped her nephew, and put her in an insane asylum. But and the good part is that you know she still loves her, so so she's still gonna follow through with the invitation.
And then,
And Petra's Russian boyfriend, he comes who threw the acid on her mom, comes back and is like, "I want to marry you. You don't really have a choice."
yeah. And then Rogelio and Ziamora are dealing with the other chick, and they stole her bunnies and made her give back all of those tapes. She was black.
Oh yeah, she's a famous Mexican actress.
Yeah, I've seen her before.
Remember she played Pilar on Weeds.
Uh-huh.
In the fourth season.
That's right. Until Shane hits her upside the head with like a thing.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh my god. I knew she looked familiar. I knew she was like famous in like.
Yeah, she's a famous actress from Mexico, and I forgot her name. Oh, Kate del Castillo.
Yeah, I knew she looked familiar. Weeds, okay.
Yeah, it's from Weeds, and she was also in this really, 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 really good movie called Under the Same Moon, where she plays this woman who she had to move to the United States from Mexico. She illegally to help. She basically had to get a job and get money to help send money to her family in Mexico, and her son is really young. Her son's like maybe 7 or 8 years old, and her son gets kind of desperate in his situation in Mexico, and so he actually leaves and crosses the border illegally to try to find her. And so he's like out on his own, crossing the border and like on this journey to go find his mom, and then meanwhile she's freaking out in the United States trying to figure out where the hell he is without endangering herself getting deported. So it's a really good movie. If you guys haven't seen it, you should watch it.
That's intense.
It's in Spanish, but it's subtitled. Don't worry. It's in Spanglish.
Yeah, okay.
Before we give grades, I do want to know quickly your reasoning why and whether or not you're Team Michael or Team Raphael.
Team Raphael. Because Raphael has good intentions with Jane. Like, he's never lied to her like Michael did about the baby situation before. He's hotter. He has more money. He's, like, willing to do all these things for Jane. And, like, she can't...
But he's moody.
You let her finish. You'll get your turn.
Okay.
But he's moody because he cares, and he's passionate and emotional. And, like... but he's sturdy. He wants to be there. He doesn't want to use lawyers for custody. He just loves Jane. He loves Mateo, and he wants to be together. And I think it's cute. It's like they should try it for their family, and he's super fine.
You want me to go or do you want to go?
You go first, and then I'll go.
Okay. I'm choosing Team Raphael because, number one, he's Mateo's dad. Duh. Like, to me, Jane wants this perfect family and wants to, make the family unit work and stuff like that. That's all she's ever dreamed about. So why not? I agree with Monroe in the aspect that Raphael is very sturdy relationship-wise. He wants to be with Jane. He's willing to do stuff. He's willing to put in the effort. He does genuinely love her. Yes, he has a crazy sister and a crazy ex-wife who just so happened to get herself pregnant with an extra piece of sperm that he had in the sperm bank. But that's besides the point. It doesn't matter. He loves her. And I think, obviously, if we're talking about looks, the looks don't hurt. Thank you. The looks don't hurt, but I just feel like he's never been with anybody else while he was with Jane. It was just all about Jane. Even when he went through that phase of, like, I don't love you and was trying to push her away, he didn't, like, go out and try to sleep with somebody else. He was dealing with family stuff, and so it was still all about Jane. Michael was too busy scooting and booting around with his partner.
Nadia.
Everybody else. Mm-hmm. So that's why I'm Team Raphael.
I'm a little indifferent to both right now because they both had.
Can't be different. You have to pick.
No, I'm not. I picked Jane. How about that? I think, honestly, Jane got thrown into this crazy situation, and she saw both the true colors of Michael and Raphael, and I feel like Michael has redeemed himself from what he tried to do. Because it was something that he tried to have Jane get rid of the baby or convince her to get rid of the baby, right?
Yeah, it was that, and then he also knew about Petra's involvement.
Yeah, like he was hiding that big thing from her, and so, which I can understand why Jane's upset, but I think he kind of redeemed himself. Raphael, I felt, yes, I agree, he's been sturdy and he's been willing to help out a lot, and he did brought up the point with, they got to talk about custody, which is okay. Who wrote that? Marcus just wrote boo on Googling.
Continue. Don't mind me.
Anyway, well, so I think, and Jane's whole thing is that, she needs to focus on being herself again, on being, a writer, and you guys are very distracting.
We're listening to you, Manas.
They're showing me signs of Team Raphael because they're both on Team Raphael. I don't know. Yeah,
Team Mateo.
Mateo, yeah.
He's a cutie too.
Yes,
so I just think that Jane needs to focus on Jane.
Well, at the end of the episode, her and Michael had that big kiss, and she apparently chose Michael.
No. She said it was the best kiss of her life, and then Raphael was on the couch sleeping with the baby monitor, and he heard it.
Baby monitor.
He heard it, and so I think next episode it's going to be about him actually wanting to bring in the lawyers because now he's hurt. Because
or he's going to be in such big competition with Michael that he's going to try to win her.
Well, he should.
So
anyway,
if he starts bringing in the lawyers, then that would be kind of a dick move. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but. I give this episode an A because it's my fave.
Yeah.
One of my favorites.
What I like about, this is one of the best things. I'm going to keep this quick, but the best things about Jane the Virgin is that I feel like even if you're a new viewer and you've never watched the show before, you can get all caught up in one episode.
Yep.
And then even if there's other things that they don't mention, don't worry, they'll catch you up, and they keep you hooked because you don't have to know all this huge backstory of what's going on. They'll get you there.
Agreed.
They'll carry that for you. So I really like that.
I give it an A. My favorite character is the narrator still.
Yeah.
Yeah. Narrator's great.
I love it quickly. I love it when they were in the club and he was yelling. He was like, "Sorry, I have to yell, but it's so loud in here."
Or somebody was narrating, I forget who, and he goes, "Ooh, they're a good narrator."
It was Dane. Dane was narrating. She was writing in her head.
Oh yeah, she's writing something. She's like,
wow. She's like, "Ooh, she's good." That's my job. Okay.
So A as well. I give it an A as well.
Good. Moving on to quite possibly the most complex show, How to Get Away with Murder. Marcus, you take this one.
I'm going to keep it really short because we're running out of time here, but I will say How to Get Away with Murder #1 is probably my out of every show on TV right now, is probably my favorite show. Like, my nerves are on 10 the entire episode because something keeps happening. What's very ironic about How to Get Away with Murder is the fact that you have all of these different characters. Bonnie kills somebody, Wes kills somebody, Michaela almost kills somebody, but the main character, Annalise, hasn't killed anyone, yet she's the one that everyone hates. It's very ironic in that aspect because she's trying to cover up everyone else's messes. We're still dealing with the twins, the adopted twins, the Hempstall case. We find out more about Asher and Trotter Lake and how, this girl got gang raped at this party that he knew. But one thing you didn't know, Asher has a baby that he has not told anyone about. And I think it's with that girl.
How do you know?
Because when he was in a meeting with Sinclair, he was like, "I want to do whatever it takes to protect my child."
Was that this episode?
No, it was in a past episode, but I don't know if anybody caught that. And I was like, is he going to tell anybody about this? So that's something. And then also Bonnie, goes off the hinges on Annalise because Annalise told Asher about Bonnie being raped as a child by her dad. And so then Bonnie is like, I want you dead. Like, I want you to die. And, like, is just fed up with Annalise. We leave off with Oliver getting brought into the mix as the IT guy, and so they try to go on this stakeout with Frank, Michaela, Connor, and Laurel, and it doesn't go well, and it turns out, Oliver's bringing groceries up the steps. He goes inside the door. This is why I keep talking about the killer. When you go inside the door, you always make sure you close and lock the door. Why would you just nudge the door and think that it's going to close?
Why,
and so the guy comes in who is suspected of killing, the twins' parents. He comes into the door at the end of the episode and it closes, and Oliver's at the refrigerator. And he's like, "Oh, hi, Oliver." And Oliver turns around, drops all the groceries. And that's the last we see of Oliver. And I'm like, no. I'm like, no, please don't kill him.
Real quick, remember that I sent you guys something, I think it was on Tumblr, about the show. It was really funny.
Yeah.
So I'm going to read it real quick for our listeners. Okay, so show, it's called How to Get Away with Murder. Main character, never murdered anyone. Bonnie, yes, I killed a hoe. Frank, I also killed a hoe. Connor, I helped kill the hoe. Michaela, I threw a hoe over a banister, LOL. Laurel, the hoe chased me and died, LOL. Wes, actually killed a hoe. Actually, I picture everyone having sex. Sam, I'm a dead hoe. Rebecca, also a dead hoe. Lila, I was fucking the dead hoe and was besties with the dead hoe. I'm also a dead hoe. And everyone ever, I'm a dead hoe.
That's pretty much the show. I mean,
that's the show, in case you were trying to figure that out.
Right. And then finally, in the they do the flashbacks and the flash forwards. And in the flash forward, at the end of the episode, we find out that the Keating Five have kind of split off. And so it's Laurel and Wes who are trying to stop Michaela and Connor from doing something, but from what, we don't know. Because this whole season so far, we've been trying to figure out who shot Annalise. Because it's been a flash forward, Annalise laying on the floor in a pool of blood. And so, Connor and Michaela...
Wes.
Say what?
I said they keep making it seem like it was Wes. Or what?
It seems like it's Wes, but I guarantee that it's probably not Wes. It's somebody else.
It's going to be something shocking, for sure.
As Michaela and Connor are running out of the mansion that the adopted twins were living in, Laurel and Wes yell to them and stop them. And as soon as they turn around, Sinclair, the prosecutor, comes flying off of the balcony and splat. And so she's dead. And so they're like, oh, shit, what happened? So
also a dead hoe.
Right. They pan up to Wes and Laurel, and they're like, what the hell just happened? So they look up. They pan up even farther. And who's at the top of the roof and push Sinclair off of the balcony? Bonnie. And so now we're like, Bonnie has now killed 2 people to everyone else's 1. What's going on here? And so that's pretty much the entire episode. And the twins weren't in it or the brother and sister, they weren't in this episode, but I'm sure they'll be back next episode. So what we don't know is who killed Annalise, how Sinclair is involved in all of this.
Well, we don't know Annalise is dead yet, though, right?
Yeah, because she was taken away by the medics before.
Yeah.
Right, so we don't know she's dead, but we know that Frank has something to do with it as well. Clearly Bonnie has something to do with it because she pushed Sinclair off of the roof over the balcony, and we need to find out who shot Annalise.
Yeah. Also what happened was Nate Leahy gave his wife these drugs to kill her because she was in, like, her last stage of breast cancer or ovarian cancer or something. So this case was about Sinclair going after Nate Leahy, and, like, so that Famke Johnson came back in and Team Frank, and so Famke Johnson came back in and she helped Nate win the case by switching out the drug or the blood, the dead wife's blood to drug test it. So he's free now, and they're sort of like getting along, and so it'll be curious to see if Famke Johnson is also in the flash forward somewhere, like if she will fit into that too.
The biggest gotcha of this entire episode, and if you weren't listening, you would miss it. Especially if you haven't been watching since season 1, Famke Janssen and Viola Davis were in the hotel room, And, well, first off, let me backtrack a little bit. Wes was sent to spy on Famke during Nate's trial just to make sure she was doing what she was supposed to be doing. And so she confronted Wes and was like, why are you here? Shouldn't you be in school? And he was like, well, I don't have no choice. And then Famke's character was like, well, what do you mean? And he was like, Wes was like, never mind, I got to go. And so then Famke meets up with Viola Davis's character, Annalise, in the hotel room, and they're celebrating Nate's getting off yet again or whatnot. And so Famke asks Viola about Wes, and she was like, are you protecting him? And she's like, yes. And she's like, oh. And so then this happened. She was like, is it him? And then Viola's character was like, yes. And if you weren't listening, we know that Wes has been adopted and that his mother died of suicide. But what we don't know was it his adoptive mother who died from suicide or his birth mother? And then Annalise is in the mix because now there's a chance that we may find out that Annalise is Wes's birth mother. Crazy shit. Like if you weren't listening and knew the details, then you would totally miss it because they did it really slyly. Because she was like, "Is it him?" And then Annalise just kind of nodded and was like, and we're like, "Oh shit! Like what? Just wait a minute, rewind it. What just happened?" So obviously, Famke Jenssen's character knows, but we don't know what she knows, and so that's something.
I missed one episode. It's like I missed the whole series.
You missed an episode. You missed like a lifetime of stories.
Oh man,
I'm telling you, it's good. But once you watch it, you'll be like, oh. When I finished watching it, I would just say, like at the end, like my nerves were on 10, especially when that dude came into Oliver's apartment, because you don't know if he's going to try to kill Oliver or if he's going to like just beat him up or what, or if Connor's going to make it in home in time to save him or what. It's just nerves is on 10.
Oliver kind of reminds me of like a Filipino Eric McCormick a little bit. Because when he was like putting the groceries away, and I'm like, dude, it's like, Will from Will and Grace, like Filipino.
Oh, okay. I was like, wait, why does that sound so familiar? Okay, yeah, yes.
He's so cute, and he's been through enough, and they just need to leave Oliver alone.
I know, but you know what? Oliver keeps getting himself sucked back into this business because they keep going to him, with all this, cyber stuff, and because he can hack into anything, and then he also has this relationship with Connor that really it's just poisonous for. I feel like it's more poisonous for Oliver than it is for Connor.
Yeah.
But and I like them together. Don't get me wrong. I really do like them together, but I feel like Oliver needs to protect himself now.
I just think he's so innocent and so naive that that's why it was so terrible for him contracting HIV. It's like he didn't. Like, this entire season, he's just so good and so nice, and then, like, he screws up once, and it's, like, fatal.
I know.
We don't know that yet. We don't know. We don't know if it's going to be fatal. Something could happen.
Well, I mean, like, eventually. And then it's like, and then now he's just trying to be helpful and get a little bit of a backbone and be like, Connor, this is something I want to do for myself. And it's like, motherfucker might be dead. We don't know.
And side note, Annalise caught Frank and Laurel sleeping together.
Oh, shit.
But she wasn't mad. She was just like, oh, so y'all got this much free time? Then I hope you got something for me since I got this kind of free time. But I give it an A+. A+, all the way.
If I would have watched it, I'm sure I'd give it an A+.
A+. Okay. One thing I really quickly want to talk about, very brief. You're the Worst. It's on FX. They're in their second season. It's hilarious, and it's about, like, two people that are just, like, terrible people, and they know that they're awful, and they're, like, commitment phobes, but they're making, like, but somehow they work together. And so this season they're moved in together, and just this past couple episodes, the girl, Gretchen, the main girl Gretchen, she reveals that she is clinically depressed. And the one thing I like about the show is that, like, normally the story will, like, wrap up at the end of the episode, and, like, that's it for her clinical depression. But actually it's, like, it's spanning these episodes that are happening now, so it's maybe, like, three episodes now. And her boyfriend doesn't like. He thinks it's fixed because he just wants to fix it, and she doesn't want to push him away. But it's just like a real world understanding, like a real world like display of that depression, where it's like it's not something that can be wrapped up and like, you know, and it's like showing her how she deals with it, and it's also a really funny show still. So
Oh, nice.
I really like the way they did that.
It's on FX?
It's on FX, yeah. So if you haven't seen it, check it out. Second season. I think the first season might be on Hulu, but then the second season's online somewhere.
Cool.
So
Cool.
shout out to that. I'm just saying it's pretty cool.
All right. Are we ready for news?
No, wait. We wanted to talk about, before we get into news, about the remakes with women, all-female remakes.
So what sparked this? What is the remake that you guys brought to my attention?
Well, there's a few. There's the Ghostbusters. I don't know if it's a remake or a sequel or what. And then they announced that they're going to do an all-female Ocean's 11.
Yeah.
Where Sandra Bullock could play the George Clooney character.
Mm-hmm.
And then what else? I think those are the only two.
I think those are the only two.
But I feel like it's gonna be like this is like a trend that's going on. When Bridesmaids had came out, they were talking about how that's like the female version of The Hangover.
Right.
So
better than The Hangover.
I thought it was better than The Hangover too. But it wasn't a female version of that. It was like they had planned to come out with Bridesmaids even before they heard about that, The Hangover coming out. But Hangover just came out first, and so they even had to like trash a whole scene because they were gonna have this whole scene in Vegas, or like a whole part where they're gonna go to Vegas, but they trashed it because The Hangover got released. So anyway, Monroe, what are your thoughts on this?
I don't like it. I don't like the fact that they're doing female remakes. Like, first of all, Hollywood in general needs to stop doing remakes and sequels and prequels. They need to start coming up with some like original material or just like don't make as many movies because it's driving me nuts. Also, the thing like now there's gonna be the thing is like these things are so open for criticism, male criticism, because like Ocean's 11 wasn't made for men with men in mind. It was made for everybody with the main cast of men. Okay?
Yeah.
But now they're making it with all-female cast with females in mind for females. And it's dumb. It should be for everybody. They shouldn't be remaking it. I don't care who's going to be in it. Like, and I think they're like pitting the genders against each other. Like, they can't be equal. And it bothers me. Like, yes, I love strong female leads, strong female groups, but I don't think what we need right now is to have a bunch of like guys on the internet just saying like, see, this is why women suck and they're ruining these things when it is absolutely not their fault. They just need to be creative and create strong female movies, that like Twilight.
Yeah, like they need to create. I think if they created movies that are original with a female cast or a female lead, a strong female lead, that would be great. Like, it worked for Mad Max. Like, that was a feminist action movie.
Yeah, exactly.
In so many ways, like even behind the scenes, because George Miller's wife was the editor on that movie, and she had never edited an action movie before, and he said, well, that's the point, because you've never done it before, I know it's going to look different. And then on top of that, the characters, it was just there was a strong female cast. Yeah, they had their moments, but what character doesn't? What good character with depth doesn't? So, and Charlize Theron, she was actually the star of that. It wasn't the title character, Max, played by, what's his name again?
Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy, yeah. I mean, he was more. The movie was about him, but not really. You felt like it was more about Charlize Theron. So, anyway, that's just one example. And then there was Lucy, which wasn't a particularly good movie.
It was terrible.
But it was okay. But look how it did in the
the
box office. It was like the strongest. It did so well, and it was something in the news about how it was the biggest opening for a movie, an R-rated movie with a female lead.
Yeah.
And it beat Lucy and Hercules with The Rock came out the same weekend, and it beat Hercules.
It beat Hercules, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Hercules was not a bad movie either. It was okay.
yeah, I mean Lucy was. I mean, I didn't think Lucy was terrible. I didn't think it was good, but I didn't think it was terrible. But it comes to show that yes, females can be the lead, and there can be they can sell the movie. It doesn't have to be a big male somebody a male with a big name. Females can do it now. Before maybe it wasn't the case, but now they can do it. It's just better when they come out with something more original.
I mean, like, I love Ghostbusters, and I like the cast of the new Ghostbusters, but I don't necessarily want another Ghostbusters. Like, there's already two. Just
Right.
leave it alone. Like, and
Yeah.
I think that it's gonna like pit the genders against each other. And it's like, I just want to get to a point in Hollywood where it's not a big deal that there's a strong female lead in a movie.
Yeah.
Like, we're so
Because, no,
surprised.
you're right, because
like,
people are gonna compare I like the male version better, or no, I like the female version better.
Yeah.
It's not what it's about, and it shouldn't be about that. But I get what you're saying. They kind of are making it about that.
yeah, and like, I don't want to get to a point where I want to get to a point where we don't have to applaud Charlize Theron for being a strong female lead. Like, I want it to be the new norm, and I think it pisses me off that they think that this is a good idea. I think it's a terrible idea.
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily like it. That's my rant.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Good.
I wholeheartedly agree. I think, it is. I think the intentions are good. That they think that it is progressive to put an all-female lead there. I mean, yeah, that's what Hollywood needs more of, but not necessarily for the remakes or sequels or whatever. Like, leave it to some. Oh, now, okay. I'm going to backtrack a little bit here, too, because Mad Max is actually a remake.
It is, but
it is actually a remake, but...
more of a continuance.
What's that?
It's more of a continuance, though. It's not like you did.
Not really, because it's a reimagining, but it's by the same filmmaker. But here's the thing about Mad Max. They didn't market it as, here's the female remake. They're saying this is Mad Max. This is a reimagining with the original, director, and he has this great vision in mind. It wasn't like, oh, coming up the Mad Max, with the all-female cast. It's like, no, that's not what it was marketed to be as.
Yeah.
So Mad Max probably wasn't the best example, but I'm going to defend it on that note right there. But I agree. Like, when Hollywood starts marketing, or when the press starts marketing, a movie or whatever with all-female cast, then that's what it gets labeled as. Mm-hmm. It's not Ghostbusters. It's the all-female Ghostbusters.
It's a new chick flick, and now they're gonna no remake, minus a few exceptions like Mad Max, whatever. Like, no remakes are ever as good as the originals. So now you're gonna have a bunch of these guys saying females aren't funny in comedy. Yeah. Like, that's always been the thing that hangs over women comics, and now it's
there was a famous comedian who's old as hell now, but he said that women can never do comedy. It was ridiculous that he said that, but
and you have a bunch of hilarious women now. Yeah. And bringing them together to do this thing, and people are already
now because they've always been there. They've always been around, just nobody noticed them before, Yeah,
and now that people are already shitting on this movie that it hasn't even come out yet. We haven't even seen a trailer. We don't even know the plot. We just know there goes Ghostbusters, and people are already shitting on it. So it's like it's never going to be a good idea when you try and up someone. It's just try and be equal. Try and do something different where
Well, I'm sure we could talk about this all day, but we need to move on. Go ahead and cut you guys off, but let's keep it moving. Now, I totally agree with both of you. Let's get into some news.
Okay, news.
Got a couple of things, but that's it.
Yeah, I got a few things here too. I'm reading off of what I'm seeing on IMDb.
I'll go first then.
Huh?
I'll go first really quickly.
Okay, go ahead.
Mine are up. I found this on Cinema Blend. Supergirl premiered 2 weeks ago, and the first episode was actually really good ratings-wise. They did about 12.9 million viewers on the first episode, But the second episode dropped by 30%. And in TV world, that's a big drop. And so not quite sure what's going on there and how they're going to kind of market that. They've been playing around with the Big Bang Theory and a few other shows and like swapping time slots and stuff. And so
they were saying that Big Bang Theory had actually carried the pilot for Supergirl because Supergirl came on right after Big Bang Theory. Right. And so and Big Bang Theory is a hit show. It's a huge.
And it was on Monday nights, but then they moved it to Thursday nights while Supergirl's second episode aired, and so maybe that's where there was a little bit of a drop. So who knows?
I have one thing to say about Supergirl really quick.
Yeah.
A couple things, and it pisses me off. Why is she Supergirl and not Superwoman when her cousin is Superman? 2, I saw a trailer for it, or like a 15-second spot for Supergirl.
Uh-huh.
Half of it was her saying she likes this guy and his name is James. I'm sorry, you're a fucking superhero. You need to talk about something other than men, and you are a woman, not a girl. That's a little condescending. I'm just saying.
Well, I watched the second episode, and the second episode wasn't bad. You know, I was interested. I hadn't seen the first one, and so I still need to go back and watch it. But I'm not 100% sure if this is going to work, and because of that reason, hold on, let me finish real quick. Because of the reason that Monroe was talking about, and the only reason why I say that is because what they put her in, like she's an intern at a fashion magazine. This reminds me of Devil Wears Prada. Like, why?
And every romantic comedy movie has ever existed.
Absolutely. So it's like, why would you do that? You know? And so is that in an effort to make her seem girly or to feminize her instead of just being a manly superhero? That I could kind of care less about. It's like, you know, if she's going to be a cousin of Superman, let her be badass. Let her be a tomboy or whatever, you know? Don't put her in this role of all girly stuff and she's fawning over this guy and, oh, woe is me, these are my life problems. I could care less about that. Go ahead.
I have an assignment for Couch Lords. Couch Lords assignment for the next podcast.
Woo.
We're going to watch the first few episodes because I'm assuming...
There'll be 3 episodes now.
There'll be 3 episodes by the time we do this again. So let's watch Supergirl, and then we'll come back and revisit. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about what we like and what we hate about it, okay?
Fair enough.
All right.
You can't professionally hate on the show until you watch it. So I agree with you. Professionally.
Okay. What's next on your news list?
The only other thing I have is that they're adding a new cast member to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. His name is Gideon Malik. I guess what his competitor. No. Sorry, that's the wrong person. His name. He's from Hawaii Five-0. Mark Dacascos is joining for. They call it a very heavy character arc, which means he'll probably be in the rest of the season, but he's supposed to premiere on the November 17th episode. So that'll be interesting. He plays some kind of security guy. They don't have much details on it, but that's that. That's all I have.
Okay. I have that the ratings for Heroes Reborn hits a 5-week high. It looks like the Thursday episode of Heroes Reborn drew in 4 million viewers. And 1.3 rating, which has actually been pretty good because the show has been kind of struggling. So I mean, 4 million is not a sexy number, but it's.
I just turned on every TV in my house to help them out.
There you go. Next up, Scream is getting new showrunner. This is the MTV Scream.
Okay.
They're getting new showrunners for season 2. Let's see. Agent Carter season 2. Ken Marino. He's been cast as Peggy's new foe. I didn't even know they were doing a season 2.
Yeah.
Carter. But this is Marvel's Agent Carter. It was meant to be a miniseries, but now it's actually a full-blown Marvel series. So I still have to watch the first season. I haven't checked that out.
I haven't either. Yeah.
And then last I have for TV news is Z Nation has been Z Nation has been renewed for season 3 on Sci-Fi. So that's that.
Awesome. Just to add something to your TV news, everybody needs to prepare because we're heading into winter finale territory within the next coming weeks. So there'll be some big plots, cliffhangers, and everything to get us into next year. So just be on the lookout for that TV-wise.
I have one more piece of news. So it came out recently that Amy Schumer and Jennifer Lawrence are working on a movie together. And they're gonna be sisters. It's the main cast is gonna be them, but this time J Law is a mess, and Amy Schumer is like an aspiring flight attendant or something. And there's not gonna be any boys in it, really. They said, but they're writing it themselves, and it's probably gonna come out in like 10 years. But since they don't have
I like them together. They're supposed to be like BFFs in real life.
I know, it's amazing.
So
That's awesome. So I have some movie news. Let me see. Johnny Depp is going to voice the lead in Sherlock Gnomes, which is the sequel to Gnomeo and Juliet, which I never saw. Noomi, I can never say her last name. Noomi Rapace?
I don't know.
Noomi Rapace. So she's going to play Amy Winehouse in the Amy Winehouse biopic. Noomi Rapace, she played the original girl with the dragon tattoo. And she was
I like her.
Yeah, and she was in most recently the Alien prequel, Prometheus.
Oh yeah.
So, anyways, that should be interesting. I mean, I love Amy Winehouse. I love Noomi. So let's see how that plays out.
Look alike, but
yeah, I mean, they could make her really look like her.
Movie magic. They can work it out.
Yeah. And then last I have is box office news. Spectre is on target with, I guess, with the projected box office. It started with the Thursday night opening at $5.25 million.
Nice.
I think it's set to go on for like 80-something million or something ridiculous. Yeah. So that's all I got.
I think it's all the news I have too.
yep.
All right, so if we're finished up here, so next week we're going to talk Supergirl.
Yes.
And then some of our other usuals. And then, so for our contact information, I guess I'll just go right into that, right? To contact us, the Couch Lords, you can tweet us at Couch Lords. You can find us on SoundCloud. Just type in Couch Lords in the little finder search menu. And you can also find our podcast not only on SoundCloud, but iTunes, TuneIn Radio, all that good stuff. And you can email us, couchlords@gmail.com. And what else am I missing?
You've covered.
Oh, Facebook. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter.
And on YouTube, where you can watch our Google Hangouts.
Or watch our Google Hangouts. It's on YouTube. Couch Lords. Couch Lords, Couch Lords, Couch Lords.
Everything Couch Lords. Even Periscope. Periscope, Twitter.
Yes.
Facebook.
Find us. Listen to us, because we're awesome. All right. So, Monroe, do you want to sign us off?
Okay. We are the Couch Lords, where
we sit.
Well, that's what we just
For as many times as we've been doing this, this should not be this difficult.
Okay, let's start over. We are the Couch Lords, where we sit,
we watch,
and we conquer.
Second try.
Down one day.
Bye.
Good day.